Law Thunder Studios, Big Biz Show is on the air. Sully here, Costa there. Our executive producer somehow is hiding out in a place they won't find him. Greg Todoroff. Love it. Great to have you. Hey, one of our favorite things to do here on the show is when we get email from you, our viewers or our listeners. We're in 110 million TV homes every day on BizTV, and of course, we're on American Forces Radio Network, so we're TV and radio. But sometimes we get shareholders or we get a fan of a book or a celebrity saying, you guys ought to interview this guy. Somebody interviewed you, Greg, and said,
Yes,
you got to talk to this company called Nexalin.
Nexalin.
Right, Nexalin.
Mark White, yes.
Yeah, Mark White. Mark White is the CEO of a company called Nexalin. They are publicly traded on the stock symbol NXL. And I'm going to let him talk about this mental health epidemic. But great to have you, man. Talk to us about this thing you call the global mental health epidemic.
So more specifically, you know, everyone in the studio with you, everyone here in my office, we all know somebody that's having some type of an issue related to quality of life, which relates to some form of a mental health issue. I'm talking about everything from children with the attention deficit disorders, adults with dementia, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. We can even get into addiction. And as you said, it's a global problem. It's a global mental health epidemic. And today, really the only treatment that's available to those that are out there suffering is medication.
You know, as you went down that list, I think every person in the studios started checking boxes. Like, check, got that, nailed it, that was it. It is pervasive, is it not? And the funny part is, I believe that social media and our instant gratification society has exacerbated that. And I would argue that if you and I had the same conversation in 1970, albeit horrible back then, it's worse now, correct?
Absolutely. And you know, everyone's trying to pin the tail on the donkey as far as, you know, what's changed, what's causing it, why socially are we struggling with these mental health issues more than ever before. Some talk about social media, some talk about the strength of drugs and alcohol, some talk about some of the trauma and chaos in the world. The reality is we have a big issue. Yeah. We got a big problem, and we need to figure out a way to fix it.
Speaking of donkeys, Mike has a question.
Thank you so much, Sully. Mark, that's why I have mental issues right here, behind the bar.
Oh, I'm a bully. That's right. You know what?
In all seriousness.
Mike Costa lives matter.
In all seriousness, though, how much did COVID completely knock a lot of people off their axis?
So that's, you know, it's hard to put a number to that, but, you know, as we read a lot about it, so as we know, we basically locked up 80% of the world for more than a year. And so when we take away all social interactions, especially to those that are already sensitive to issues related to mental health and their quality of life, what you do is you take existing circumstances, you alienate them, and you basically increase the problems. You increase the drug and alcohol use, you increase suicide, you increase self-harm with students, you know, young adults. So at the end of the day, though, it all comes back to the brain, and this is where our focus is focusing on the brain and how to treat the brain in a safe and effective manner that's not involving any types of drugs, and it's non-invasive.
Hey, Mark, by the way, Mark White's our guest. He's the CEO of a company called Nexalin Technology. They are publicly traded under the stock symbol NXL. So talk to us about your proprietary sort of therapy for this malady, which we all suffer from.
Okay, I'll try to keep it simple. So the brain basically operates with frequencies and electrical energy patterns, and those patterns interact with chemicals, hormones. Today, currently, when we have a mental health issue, there's some type of an imbalance in the chemical and electrical system of the brain. And today, what we currently prescribe is medication to treat the chemical imbalance to a chemically imbalanced brain, expecting it to be normal.
So we're talking about what, like Prozac, for example? Would that be an example of what we're talking about?
Prozac, Cymbalta, Wellbutrin. I mean, there's a long list. Ritalin, Adderall for the children, et cetera. You go on and on. And at the end of the day, what our technology is about is using frequency packages, again, collaborating with the natural frequencies of the brain. And literally through research, we have developed a waveform based on frequencies that will promote a response in the brain towards health and wellness.
So Mark, to be grotesque here, because I'm hopped up on Mucinex and Windex right now myself. But the point is, are we talking about what we would have called shock therapy back in the 60s and 70s?
Okay, so that's where it kind of all begins. Is it starts with shock therapy, put electricity in the brain, see how it responds, and over the years they develop very strong shock therapies. We all know the stories, the memory issues, side effects. One flew over the cuckoo's nest for the older ones in the crowd. But basically that evolved into lower voltage or lower forms of electrical stimulation. You see a lot of them on the internet, battery operated little toys that people are trying to claim can cure major mental health issues. And what Nexalin has done is sort of taken 40 years of research and science, studied the brain and its natural frequency energy, and created a technique where we put a pad on the forehead, a pad behind each ear, and we stimulate the brain undetectable. You can't feel anything. There's no side effects. There's no risk. And what will occur is that there will be a natural response towards balancing and normalizing the chemicals in the brain that are currently out of balance that you currently treat with medication.
Hey, Mark, is there an FDA component to this? Talk to us about the infrastructure. So when people say
there is.
Okay.
Our original technology was approved in the FDA in 2003 for anxiety, depression, and insomnia. We currently are no longer distributing that product. We are focused now on taking our technology that used to be in a clinical console setting, and basically we've put it into something not much larger than a set of sunglasses or glasses that goes on your head like a halo, which is the trademark of the technology. And it stimulates on the forehead and behind each ear. As I said, it's undetectable. You won't feel anything. And today it is the most powerful frequency-based treatment in the world.
That's amazing.
What's interesting is, if you look in terms of every option you have when, let's say, you're depressed or you know, there's a mental issue, the first thing you do is go to I can't remember, psychiatrist. It's
because they prescribe the
psychiatrist gives you drugs, psychologist doesn't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Psychiatrist.
So the point is, what is the adoption rate for you guys? Because look, we've had a couple of people on there talking about psychotropics like LSD, which is now in fashion. Now we're talking about shock therapy, which, by the way, obviously, I mean, you're affecting your neurosystems, whatever. What's the adoption with the professionals out there? Like how are you pitching this to the
hold on now. Let's back up for just a second. We're not shocking anybody, just so you know. Okay, what we're doing.
Oh, look, Mike's licking 9 volts right now. So.
We're not shocking anybody.
Car battery.
Yeah. So
Mike just put a pair of sunglasses on with a little 9-volt battery on the side of it.
Yeah, Greg and I were talking about this yesterday. Basically, look, your body's full of electrical energy. And all we have done is designed a waveform, a way to stimulate the brain with the natural electrical energy patterns that are already in your body. So this is why I'm saying it. You're not going to feel anything.
I love this. Hey, Mark, so what's the protocol? Can I put this on when I go to bed at night? Can I put it on when I'm driving? Like what's the protocol?
Well, we'd rather you not drive around. We'd like for you to just sit in a chair and basically reduce the stimulation the brain's already getting. You know, remember, stimulation's eyesight, audible, visual, etc. So the idea is to sit in just a chair, relax, read a book, put on the headset for 40 minutes in the privacy of your own home. The technology is prescribed through a virtual clinic platform, so you still require medical oversight and medical interventions. And from there, you are going to want to treat yourself 15 to 20 times, 40 minutes a day over a period of 3 to 4 weeks.
Like everybody in here is holding up their hand. Who doesn't want this? I mean, as a preemptive thing.
I do. I want to be a lab rat.
Yeah.
Like,
I do too.
It seems to me it's like, why not just preemptively sign up and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take out 40 minutes a day, and I'm going to listen to the Sully Band. Or
I want to get past the bullying that he subjected me to, and I think, Mark, you are absolutely the person to help me.
You're right.
It could be. Well, you know, and back to the adoption rates. So 10 years ago, no one really wanted to talk to us. Today, everyone wants to talk to us. Obviously, the next layer is, as you mentioned a moment ago, the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
What our research tells us that in 3 to 5 years, which actually lines up nicely with our business model, 3 to 5 years, when you go to the psychiatrist in our virtual clinic, so telepsychiatry on your phone, When you go to the psychiatrist, he's going to give you an option. He's going to say, I've got a drug-free option and I've got medication. Which would you like to try? Or if you've tried medication and you didn't respond well, or you didn't like the side effects, he's going to say, I have an alternative that's drug-free. And there's the option.
Who doesn't love this?
In Mark, you said 3 to 5 years out?
Yeah, we're looking 3 to 5 years out for the adoption, where basically it'll be a normal part of the prescription and treatment offered by the psychiatrist. And eventually we'll bring the psychologist into the conversation as well as your general practitioner, because what most people don't know is your GP prescribes about 80% of the psychotropic medications currently in the country.
Big Biz Show, Mark White, stock symbol NXL, Nexalin Technology. Thanks, bud.
That's so cool. Phenomenal.
Love it.